Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. Got a few videos to show you today. Made some good progress on several projects, and there's still a ton to do. And I still can't get back to the water wheel roof, though it's just letting those shingles dry, so it's not a bad thing in a way, but doggone, I want to get that done. We might as well... I might as well first say that I did put out another auction guitar over the weekend. I don't know if anybody saw that or not, but there are now 2 guitars on the auction site. So if you don't know how to get there, you just go to my website, www.rosastringworks.com, and then you click on the shopping page, scroll down to the bottom or near the bottom, and you'll see the gavel, the auction gavel symbol, and that means those items are up for auction, and you can click on them and get the details. Both of the guitars that are up for auction are pretty dang nice guitars. That first one really has a great sound. The second one, the sound is good. It's I would say very good. But the first one, it's really got a really fine guitar, woody sound. And the other one's very good. It's just hard to explain. But, we're not asking a lot for these. So, I mean, if somebody knows of a youngster that needs a good sounding guitar, these would be great for that. So hopefully somebody will pick them up. I don't know. Here's a little short video clip on just yet another problem that reared its ugly head.
Well, like I don't have enough problems. See that bulb pulled in like that? That's supposed to be round. That means something's got the fuel line clogged and it's sucking that down like that. So I gotta fix that now. I tell you, I don't have enough trouble. That's the problem. Everything just is too easy for me. I never have enough trouble. But anyway, let's see. I just opened the screw up here, and that opened that back up. So hopefully, well, what I have to do is I have to blow through this line. I'll see if pumping this a few times, I doubt it'll let any fuel come through, but it might be enough to get me up to the shop where I can get the air hose on it and stuff. Doggone, I tell you. Can't catch a break, don't seem like. Maybe that'll let me get it up to the shop. Well, I couldn't hold the phone and do this very easily, but basically what I did was I just blew air through here. This goes back to the tank, and I can't do it with one hand, but well, you can hear it. It's bubbling back there in the tank. So there's something in this tank that clogs this fuel line up, and it's just impossible to get to. If it was easy to get to, I'd already have it fixed. It's literally impossible to get to. So it just kind of is what it is. Every once in a blue moon, it doesn't, maybe it'll go for 6 months and not have that problem, and then all of a sudden you got that problem again. So it's not that hard to fix. It's just a pain in the neck.
Yeah, it was a used skid steer that I bought. I bought it, I think in 2018 or somewhere around that time frame. And it's really been overall a very good machine. Haven't had a lot of trouble with it, but that doggone fuel line sure does clog up a lot. You can't even see, literally cannot even see the fuel tank. It's just behind engines, and even when you crank up the seat on the front, the cab, you just can't see it. You can't even get to it. And the neck itself, the fuel neck goes in, and then it turns and does this, and then it goes down. So you can't, there's no direct access to get down to the fuel tank. It's, it's a mess. And, you know, the only way you could get to it, I think, is you have to pull the engine, I think. I'm not going to do that. So I don't know what to do about it. It's just aggravating. But if I take that air line and just blow through there, and you can hear it just bubbling like that and blowing air through there, and then that seems to clear the inlet. You know, the inlet, I guess that stuff vibrates down to and closes off that inlet somehow, is what must happen. That's my guess, just because I can't see what's going on. Well, anyway, that's that little problem resolved. Here's an update on the pond bank status. Thought I'd give you a status update here on the pond leaking project. All the water has been stopped. I had to take this walnut tree out that was right here. I didn't see any point in leaving it there because we're going to fill all this in so it's a long flat grade so that she can cut all this with the lawn tractor. She won't have to use the weed whacker so much. And this up here, I spread out that stuff that we dug out of the hole first. Now there's clay underneath all this, but I spread this all out because it was so soaking wet, just sticky mud. And it rained on us since I did that, so it's still got a lot of time to dry out here. I need to haul a lot more dirt in here. I've actually hauled about 8 dump truck loads of dirt in here and spread it out. This was a deeper hole than it looked like. So once we get all this filled in all the way down, for sure the pond won't leak. I'm positive of that. But it'll also make it a lot easier to maintain and cut the grass and all that. But it's going to be a few more days because I want this to dry out better because it's a mess. Spreading wet dirt don't work with a skid steer or anything. You know, the dirt has to be dry in order for you to do a good grading job. Right here, we're going to need at least 2 more dump truck loads right here alone, and probably another one up there. So at least 3 more dump truck loads. The bobcat is sitting up there underneath the shade tree, and I need to tighten the tracks on that. The tracks are loose, and I parked it there so that I could do that maybe this afternoon too. Yeah, I need to tighten the tracks also. When you get on those hillsides digging that dirt to put it in the dump truck, if you aren't careful, you can run your track off. So I've got to get those tracks tightened up before I can move more dirt. And let's see, there was another project that reared its ugly head, I think last Friday or something, or maybe Thursday. And it was one that wasn't even on my radar, but it's one that needs to be done. I mean, whenever I go into the utility room, I always think, man, we need to remodel this thing and get it all cleaned up, because it's just been a mess forever. Since we've lived here, it's just been a mess. But here's this first part is just a sped up version of me tearing out all that concrete block. And there's a note on the screen that says that, actually I started way above the ceiling height. So, what you're seeing here is the tail end of the project on the tearing out part. So here it is.
An old battered case, weathered and worn, with the hinges all rusted and the fabric all torn, but still cradled inside was one old precious thing. It was Grandpa's old fiddle, oh how sweetly it rings. Grandpa's old fiddle played sweet melodies. He played it from his heart for my grandma and me. Wrinkled old hands, he held it with love, and I can still hear it playing up in heaven above. The most honest man have seen, and his time on this old earth was most precious to me. He lived on Current River at the mouth of Blue Springs, and at night the hills echoed as the old fiddle would ring. Grandpa's old fiddle played sweet melodies. He played it from his heart for my grandma and me. Wrinkled old hands, he held it with love, and I can still hear it playing up in heaven above. Just a boy at the time, I remember a day when Grandpa and that old fiddle some old tunes he did play. Well, now Grandpa, he has left us for heaven above, but he left me that old fiddle, and now I play it with love. Grandpa's old fiddle played sweet melodies. He played it from his heart for my grandma and me. Wrinkled old hands, he held it with love, and I can still hear it playing up in heaven above. The old fiddle is ringing up in heaven above.
And here's the status of the utility room project. There's a lot more been done here than it looks like. First of all, the ceiling was just black with smoke from the wood furnace. I washed off the thickest part of it. I'm not worried about the rest. We're going to skim all this with drywall mud. So I'm not worried about the rest of it, but it, you know, and then I took this duct that was here and I cut it up into pieces, or I cut the corners, and then I folded it all in, screwed it all to itself. I put insulation on top of that first, and then screwed it to itself, and then caulked all the seams, pushed it up in there as good as we can, and then drywalled over this. So I have to mud and tape over all this. This area here where the old rock flue was, or concrete flue was, went all the way up through that upper ceiling. And that actually doesn't, there's another roof above that yet. This house has been added onto so many times, it's ridiculous. It's the worst attic in the world. But anyway, I had to tear a lot of this out because a lot of it was really bad. This here actually had gotten scorched. The drywall was so scorched from that flue that it's a wonder it didn't catch a house on fire, but it definitely deteriorated the drywall to the point where it was just flaking. And so I cut all that out, and now I got to patch all the drywall back in here. So that's yet another project. Then over here, this is where I had temporarily, once I moved the wood furnace out of here, I moved it into the garage, and I temporarily ducted it into down here, and for the cold air return, and into this part of the furnace for the heat. And that's how we heated the house for a long time, with the furnace out in the garage. But once we remodeled the garage out there, we took the furnace out of that, we put the outdoor furnace in, and then we remodeled the garage. Well, I still haven't fixed the walls here, but now that we're doing this whole thing, we're going to fix all that too. The idea is to maybe, possibly, put a temporary wall or some sort of a portable wall, removable wall, whatever the word is, across here, just to hide this furnace, and then it'll just be a better looking utility room. We don't really use that furnace other than the blowers. The blowers is the only thing we use on that furnace, and it's got brand new heat exchangers in it. So we really, these two furnaces are almost brand new, other than the fact that their blowers have been used for years. That's the state of the union. It's still a lot of work to be done, but I got a lot of that done this morning. Another thing you wouldn't know without me telling you is that I cut this cabinet off. this cabinet used to extend all the way out over to here where that paint mark is. And I cut this off this morning and then closed it back up. I even flipped the door over so that the door opens this way, which is better for, getting to it. The door actually opened the other way, but I did all that this morning as well. And then all this is going to get painted, of course, and make it look better. But here's where all the grandkids have made all their marks over the years on their heights. Here's Tyler. He was the oldest grandson, and he's up here at 6'22", but he's taller than that now. He's probably up here. He's really tall now. There's Tyler way down here. So it's amazing. He went to here, and now he's probably up to about here. He's really tall. Oh my gosh, this is such a mess. There used to be a door here too for that wood furnace, and I covered that over. So a lot of taping and mudding. It'll make it look better. I've also pulled out the electric here. Unfortunately, there's no grounds on this electric. Wouldn't you know? Of course not. But that was done pre-Bob. Bob didn't do that, I don't think. Well, he might have done this one. He probably did do this one, actually, because that went with the furnace. There was a switch and an outlet there, and I took that out. I'm just going to put an outlet here and an outlet there. Unfortunately, they're not going to be grounded. I wish they were. But you got to work with what you got when you're in an old house like this.
Yeah, it's quite a project back there. And Sue is, as we speak, she's in town picking up a sheet of drywall so I can enclose those holes. And then I'll be mudding and taping all that. I'm actually a pretty good hand at mudding and taping. That really doesn't bother me too much. I can do that pretty well. The only part I don't like is the sanding part because it's just such a mess. But the mudding and taping itself, I don't mind that, but that sanding is a real nightmare. And then sometimes I've used sponges and used water instead of sanding, and that works pretty good. You can do that, but it's not the best either. Let's see. She's also picking up a new tire for the Ferguson tractor. That I showed you last week that the tire blew on the back of the tractor, one of those great big tires, and it was pretty dry rotted anyway. So I just said get a new one. The one on the other side of the tractor, it didn't seem to be dry rotted, so I said we'll just leave it and just replace the one. That's what you do when you're not made out of money. I guess that's about it that I was going to cover with you. So let's go into the comments here and see what's going on. David Tharp says, hello, everybody. My fake plants died. I didn't pretend to water them. Well, there you go. There's your problem right there. Let's see. Dottie says she's praying for everybody. Thank you, Dottie. And her prayer list is getting awful long there. Rod Wentler says, howdy, Jerry and gang. Again, if you don't know, if you're new here, I just look for the question marks. Multiple question marks is what I look for. So if you want me to read your comment, that's the best way to get it read. Bill Webb says, good afternoon. Moving on down. David Tharp says, Jerry, have you ever tried to eat beets? I tried once, but couldn't get past the smell. To me, it was the same as smelling mold. I think I have tasted it. It tasted really, I don't know. I probably could force myself to eat that, but trying to think of how I usually can remember everything that I've ever tasted, and for some reason I'm having trouble. It seemed like it tasted like real flat, like dirt or something to me. It's been a long time ago since I tasted that. I can't really remember, honestly, but usually I can remember everything I tasted. And so I'm having, I don't know. Seemed like it had a real flat taste. Let's see. looking for the question marks. I don't see too many more here. Scrolling way down. Dottie says it's 99 in South Carolina, but heat index of 111. Well, I don't know what our heat index is, but I can tell you for sure the humidity level here is ridiculous. You go outside, even when it's like cools off in the evenings, like it says 85, it just hits you in the face. You walk out there and it just feels like it's like 20 degrees hotter than it is. It just feels horrible. It's absolutely terrible here. That's one of the reasons I'm working on this indoor project, because we got air conditioning and I can, even that I'm still sweating through my shirt. But let's see, moving on. After we went live, David says, what's the difference between rain and climate? You can't rain a tree, but you can climb it. Okie dokie. Let's see. Gino Hitch says, Jerry and friends still demoing the wife's bathroom. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Well, I don't know anything about demoing, and especially not bathrooms. I mean, I've only installed 11 bathrooms here on this farm. And actually, to say that differently, that's 11 of them for sure, and I've redone a couple of those at least one other time. So about 13 or 14 bathrooms here on the farm that I've actually done. Let's see. Scott Roberts, Elmer Fudd gets pulled over leaving a bar. Cop said he was weaving. Elmer said he had to weave because the bar was closing. I got that one. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrandt, what's going on with weeds in the pond? It's bad news, man. Sue decided to do a test, and she bought this stuff. I don't remember what it's called, but she sprayed it on the back pond because it's got mostly cattails and other kinds of weeds. It don't have the stuff that's in this front pond, thank goodness. The stuff that's in the front pond is unbelievable. It's the most aggressive stuff I've ever seen in my whole life. I've never seen a pond with this kind of stuff in it before. It's so thick, and you just pull it out and you think, well, you pull this out and you think you're getting all of it, and you're getting hardly any of it. It's just amazing. I've never seen anything like this stuff. But anyway, she's doing a test back there, and it seems to be working, so we're about ready to tackle the one up here in the front. We're thinking we might want to drain it down a little bit so that the water doesn't run out the pipe into the creek while we're treating this. I don't know. We're just debating on what to do. Scott Roberts, Elmer Fudd gets... Oh, wait a minute, I read that one. Let's see. Okay, Scott Roberts says, Jerry, did you write that song, Grandpa's Old Fiddle? Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. That's my most requested song. Well, years ago for sure. Whenever we were playing all the time, we really couldn't play a show without somebody requesting Grandpa's Old Fiddle. It was a true story. I've told the story many times on here. I'm surprised you haven't heard me tell it, where, I wrote it in the middle of the night. I woke up the next morning and didn't really realize I had written a song. I lay there thinking, did I write a song or not? And I found all the words to it on the dining room table, and sure enough, I did. But it was just weird. It was a very strange situation. And that was, what was weird about that was it was exactly 2 months to the day after he passed away. David Tharp, I'm very good at explaining the meaning of words. Really define avoidable. Easy. It's what a matador does. Avoidable. Okay. Let's see. Scott Roberts. David, I once swallowed a book of synonyms. It's given me thesaurus I've ever had. It's given me the thesaurus. I get it. I can't say it. I get it. Giving me the thesaurus throat. That's hard to say. All right. Anyway, David Tharp says, "Hey Scott, I bought the world's worst thesaurus. Not only was it terrible, it was terrible." You guys are sick. Sidecar Bob, our mold crew are delayed a day. That's probably good because there's another heat warning here, and we can't run the air conditioning for another day. Wow, that's a bummer. William McCormick, maybe have an auxiliary tank added in a safe spot on the machine. Well, there is literally, if you know anything about a skid steer, a bobcat, especially a bobcat, there is zero place you can put something like that. I mean, you could do it externally, maybe put it up on the roof, but then it's going to get drug off on tree limbs and stuff, you know. There is literally no place to put one. You can't. I'm not kidding you about this. I try to find a place to put like a cup holder. You can't. There's no place. You cannot find a place. There's nothing. There's no room. Every square inch of space on those things is already taken. And I'm not exaggerating. It's that way. You can barely find room to lay a screwdriver in those things. It's that bad. There's the only two places you got at all is two little pockets kind of right behind your rear end, right down on behind the seat there. There's two, and you can, like, I'll lay my headphones there, that, you know, like the hearing protectors there, and on the other side I have a screwdriver wired up there that I can get out and undo that fuel thing if I need to. I'm seriously telling you, there's no room in these things. It's crazy. I would do that if I could, but there's just no room. David Tharp, have you clicked the like button yet? Please do. Well, I would appreciate it if you would do that. Dottie Hillebrand, you were talking about a fake wall in front of the ducks. Use folding doors. Well, yeah, kind of, but we've got folding doors. That's actually what's in the hallway now. To go into that room, we've got folding doors in there, and we could probably make that work there too. I'll consider it, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that dadgum folding doors. I'm halfway tempted to get rid of the ones we got. But on a place like that, it would be better. Actually, maybe I should just move them over there and put something else where they are. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to come up with some solution that would look good and leave it open enough where, like, if somebody had to come out and work on it or something, that it would be available, accessible. I don't know. I'll kick it around. William McCormick, Mr. Sharp, have you considered? Oh, there's no question marks there. Let's see. Never mind. William McCormick, potties, hope you are doing better. Okay. William McCormick again. Dottie, hope you're doing better. Okay. Okay, I see there. Scott Roberts, William McCormick, you type about as good as Jerry reads. No, he probably types much better than that. Sidecar Bob, I meant we can run the air conditioning. We'll have to turn it off when they're... Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that would be bad. It's the temperatures here. Well, they've been hitting 100 in the hottest part of the day, definitely in the mid to high 90s pretty much every day. And even in the evenings when it drops down to like 85, you think, well, all right, I'll go out there and do something. It just hits you in the face when you walk out the door. It just feels like a steam bath hitting you. It's horrible. It's just horrible. Well, I think that's it, guys. That's everything I had. I thank y'all for being here. Sue will be back before very long, and I guess I'll be drywalling and taping and mudding. William McCormick says, beets and cranberry have a gritty taste. I like the cranberry juice. Like I said, it's been so long since I tasted beets, but I could probably eat them if I had to, but I don't think I'd like them. David says he heard the heat waves breaking Thursday. I think Sue said that too. It's supposed to cool off Thursday. Let's see. Frank says, stay safe. Well, I'll try. There's just so much to do. I'm just overwhelmed with all the different projects and stuff. Y'all take care. We'll see you tomorrow with something else.